Hello, friend. Hello, friends. In this video, I'm going to explain about organization and organizational effectiveness. So, in this chapter, the first topic is here. It is what is an organization. Okay. So, as here it is written, an organization is a tool used by people to coordinate their action to obtain something they desire or value, that is to achieve their goals. Okay, it means organization is a tool used by the people to coordinate their activities to obtain something that they cannot do individually. Okay, in organization people come together, they coordinate with each other, and then they achieve the goal which they cannot do individually. So that is an organization. It's a tool. Okay, so how does an organization create value? Okay, the purpose of what organization is about creating value. Okay, so how does an organization create value? What is the process and the method? So now you see here. So here given how does an organization create value. So first of all, organization's inputs. Okay, organization inputs here given. So organization obtain inputs from its environment. From its environment, organization obtains inputs, whatever inputs are required for converting that input into output. So what are inputs? Just like raw materials, money, capital, human resources, information and knowledge, customers of service organization. So these are different types of inputs which organization require. Okay, and then then organization convert that those inputs into output. So now here you see the next process here is organization's conversion process. So what happens in organization's conversion process? Here, as you can see, transforms input and adds value to them. So what organization conversion process does? In this process, inputs are transformed into something which adds value to those inputs. Okay, it means in the conversion process what happens, value is added to the inputs. Okay, so that's what happens in the conversion process. And in the conversion process, different things which we use are machinery, computers, human skills and abilities. So these things we use in conversion process. Then after conversion process, we get output, means the organization's output. Okay, so what is here? Organization releases output to its environment. After conversion process, the organization releases its output to its environment. Okay, so what are the different outputs? Just like finished goods, services, dividends, salaries, value for stakeholders. So these are different outputs of organization after conversion. And then after that organization's output, you know what, goes to environment. In organization's output, so whatever outputs are there, so those outputs go to environment. So now here organization's environment come. So stakes, now here you can say organization's environment, sales of outputs allow organization to obtain new supplies of input. So after getting output, okay, then organizations sell those outputs, and by selling, uh, they get more resources. Okay, and then obtain, and from those resources they get new supplies of inputs. So now here it is given customers. So where in organization, what are the organization's environment? And organization's environment, here given customers, shareholders, suppliers, distributors, government, competitors. So these all constitute organization's environment. So that is the process, means how organization create value. The first thing, what organization obtain inputs from its environment, then organization convert those inputs into output, and During that process, during the conversion process, organization add value to inputs, and then we get output in organization output, and then those outputs from the organizations are, what, sold in the organization's environment, and organization's environment constitute customers, holders, suppliers, distributors, government, competitors. Okay, so that is it. Now you can see here it is written, value creation take place at three stages. Okay, input, conversion, and output value creation. So as I already explained about that, here organization conversion, here it is output, and here it was the input. Okay, input, conversion, and then output. So here value creation take place at three stages: input, conversion, and output. Each stage is affected by the environment in which the organization operates. So in whatever environment the organization operates, so that environment affects the input stage also, and conversion stage also, and output stage also. Clear? Because organization cannot work in vacuum. Organizations have to work in some type of environment, and those environments affect these all processes, means whether the input stage, whether the conversion stage, or whether the output. Okay. Okay. So now next, here inputs include human resource, information knowledge, raw materials, and money, and capital. So these all things come under input. The way an organization chooses and obtains from its environment the input it needs to produce goods and services determines how much value organization creates at the input stage. Okay, so now how much, what value is created at the input stage, that is going to be determined by how an organization chooses and obtains inputs from its environment. Okay, those inputs which are required for converting those inputs into finished product or output. Clear? Then the next here given, the way the organization uses human resources and technology to transfer inputs into output. Okay, determines how much value is created at the conversion stage. Okay, means how much. So I explained at input stage how much value is created, and at the conversion stage how much value is going to be added. So that is going to be decided by the way the organization uses human resources and technology. Okay, at the time, or you can say conversion stage. So two things particularly determine how much value is going to be created. So first thing is the human resource, then second it is the technology to transform into outputs. Okay, so these two things uh, are very important for adding value to the inputs. Okay, and this is about conversion stage. Then after we go to the output stage. So the result, now you see the result of the conversion process is an output of finished goods and services that the organization releases into its environment, where they are purchased and used by customers to satisfy their needs. Again, so whatever outputs of products are produced by the organization, those things are released into the environment, and then the customers purchase those things. Okay, and use them and to satisfy their needs. So how much their needs are going to be satisfied determines how much it is the output produced in the process, in the whole process. The organization uses the money earned from the sale of its output to obtain new supplies of inputs, and the cycle begins again. So as I already explained here, in the cycle, here it was. So after getting organization's output, the organization sells those outputs into the environment, and from there they get money, and from that money they again purchase inputs. to produce output again. So in this way the cycle continues to go on. So one more question it arises: why do organizations exist? What is the reason behind the existence of the organization? So the production of goods and services most often takes place in an organization setting, because people working together to produce goods and services usually can create more value than the people working separately. So this is the reason, particular reason, uh, why organization exists. So means individually people can create less value as compared to when people are working in the organization. In other words, we can say when people are working in the organization, then they can create more value uh, as compared to when they are working individually. So that's why uh, organizations exist. This is the reason. So specific reasons are also mentioned here. So the first specific reason here is to increase the specialization and division of labor. So in organization, it is possible to increase the specialization and division of labor. So the collective nature of organization allows individuals to focus on a narrow area of expertise. This allows them to become more skilled and specialized at what they do. Okay. So in organization, individuals are able to focus on a particular area, means in a narrow area, uh, in which they can become expert, and so they can create more value. And then the second, it is given to use large scale technology. Large scale technology can be used only, in organization where a large number of people are working together. Okay. So now here you can see uh, one block diagram here, it is shown. So now you see in short form, first I'm going to explain those all specific points about why organization exists, then after I will explain in detail also. So I explain one point in detail, but remaining point I will explain in detail after explaining this block. So what? The use of an organization allows people jointly to increase the specialization and the division of labor. Okay, it increases the division of labor. Use large scale technology, means in organizations it is possible to use large scale technology. Second, the third, it is manage the external environment. It is more easier in the environment to manage the external environment as compared to when individuals are working independently or individually. And then next, given economies on transactions cost, and here given economize on transaction cost. So transaction cost is also reduced in the organization as compared to when individuals are working separately, and exert power and control. So in organization it is possible to control the behavior of individuals, so that effective means effective use of their expertise or talent or skill can be utilized, and which increases. So now the result of these all things here given, which increases the value that an organization can create. So that's I already explained in the beginning, that as compared to individual, okay, as compared to the people working individually, when people work in the organization, the value created is greater. So that's why organization exists. Okay. So that's why the overview. Now here it was written to use the large scale technology. To use the large scale technology, what are the points here given? You see, organizations are able to take advantage of the economies of scale and scope that results from the use of modern automated and computerized technology. Okay, means organization can use modern technology and can also take the advantage of economies of scale, because if you have to produce in large quantity, then you cannot produce large quantity of any product individually. Okay, so in organization only it is possible to produce a large amount of products. So that's why it is very important that organization exists. Okay. So what is it? Economies of a scale. So here I used the term economies of a scale and a scope. Okay, economies of a scale and economies of a scope. So that's why here I'm going to explain about what it is the meaning of economies of scale and what is the meaning of economies of scope. So the cost saving that result when goods and services are produced in large volume on automatic production lines. Okay, so here it is economies of a scale, meaning it is about cost cutting or cost saving that result when goods and services are produced in large volume. Okay, so in large volume when produced in the organization, then the cost of production it decreases. So this is economies of a scale. Then the second is economies of scope, cost saving that result when an organization, cost saving when that result when an organization is able to use underutilized resources more effectively because they can be shared across different products or tasks. So here economies of scale meaning whatever resources already available to the organization. In this means in case of economies of scope, the organization is able to utilize unutilized resources more effectively and efficiently, and due to that effective and efficient use of resources which is already resources which are already present there in the organization, cost is, you can say, cost is reduced. Okay, so this is the economies of scope. Then the next point here it is given about to manage the external environment. To manage the external environment, organization exists. So what is this? Managing complex environment is a task beyond. So here it is beyond. The managing complex environment is a task beyond the abilities of most individuals. Okay, but an organization has the resources to develop a specialist to anticipate or attempt to influence the many demands from the environment. So environment is very complex, so individuals cannot control or cannot manage the environment effectively because they do not have that much resources to manage them effectively. So organization exists. So here in case of organizations have sufficient amount of resources to develop a specialist to anticipate or attempt to influence many demands from the environment. Means they can anticipate, they can predict the environment and the fluctuation or dynamics of the environment in which the organization is operating. So that's why organization exists. So this is the third specific reason to manage the external environment, because external environment can be managed effectively as compared to individual, when individuals are working individually. Okay, then the next point, a specific point here given to economize on transaction cost. Organization's ability to control the exchanges between people reduces the transaction cost associated with these changes. So here given, first of all, we must know what is transaction cost. So here given transaction cost, the cost associated with negotiating, monitoring, and governing exchanges between people. Okay, when any organization or just first of all leave organization, first we are going to consider about the process of production or the process of adding value. When people are working to produce certain kinds of products, then in that process they exchange. So what they do, they exchange resources. Okay, so during that exchange process, okay, it is some type of cost incurred, and that cost is known as transaction cost. So that's here it is clearly written, the cost associated with negotiating, monitoring, so and governing the exchanges. Means so whenever people are working in the organization or in any value creation activities, then in that case exchanges happen, and when exchanges happen, then There is possibility that the people may not do ethical things, or they may not work according to the law. So that's why, to monitor, to negotiate with the people working uh, in the value creation process, certain costs uh, certain costs incur, and that cost is what? Transaction cost. Okay. So here given, so organization ability to control the exchanges between people reduces the transaction cost associated with this exchanges. So organization can control the exchanges between people, because so many people are working in the organization. So if so many people are working in the organization, then and those all people are under control of one authority, that is the organization. So it organization can control people. So if they can control, if the organization can control, it means the transaction cost associated with these exchanges can be reduced. Okay. Then the next point is given, exert power and control. So organization can exert greater pressure on individuals to conform to task and production requirements in order to increase production efficiency. Okay. So here given, organization can exert greater pressure on individuals to conform to the task and production requirements in order to increase production efficiency. So here I am explaining, if people are working individually, then in that case there is no pressure on them, means they are determined by their own self motive. So okay, so that's why there may be possibility that they are not doing their best. Okay, they are not conforming what is required for the production of the product. But if people are working in the organization, they must conform to the norms of the organization, and the norms of the organization generally are efficient as compared to the people working individually. So that's why here, by exerting power and control by the organization can increase the productivity or the efficiency in the value creation or value addition process. And the next point here is given, the organization can discipline or fire workers who fail to conform, and can reward good performance with promotion and increased rewards. Because in employment, now here you can see, organization can discipline. So whenever it is required to discipline any worker, then organization can do, because there is a system, there is a method for doing that. Okay, there are rules and norms which employees must follow if they have to work in the organization. If they don't, then they can be fired. And if any worker or any employee is working properly, then and doing better as compared to other, then that employee can be promoted or given some extra benefits, given promotion. Okay. So because employment promotion and increased rewards are important and often scarce, organization are can use them to exert power over individuals. So now you see here how you know what organization can exert power and control over the individual. Organization can exert power, okay, or discipline the individual for proper working by promotion, because employment, because these are the reasons, employment, because people need employment and they are motivated to get promotion and increased rewards. So due to these rewards, so whether it is employment, promotion, or increased rewards, due to all these reasons, people are motivated to perform well, means they want to do better if they get these all benefits. Okay. So this is possible in the organization only. So due to these reasons, organization can exert exert power over individuals who are working in the organization. Okay. So this is it for this video. So thank you.